controlling how child flex items wrap inside the parent container is the name of the game in this exercise. As we know from the previous exercise, we know that the child flex items will all try to fit onto one line inside the parent container. We saw this with that accordion effect that I was talking about in the previous exercise anyway. Once again, by default, as a reminder, the parent flex container, they are single line containers, and child flex items will scale or space apart or align themselves all on a single line. This is all by default, of course. Now, to have flex items widths respected, and therefore not scale or partake, if you will, in that accordion effect inside the parent container, what we'll need to do is we'll need to check out a new Flexbox property called FlexWrap. Now, as a result, if there isn't enough room within the parent container to fit all of the child flex items onto a single line, they'll break or wrap onto a new line rather than scale or even overflow as we saw in the previous exercise. So this is pretty cool stuff, especially if you really want to control your layouts. So to recap here for you, on my parent flex container, there is no width right now. So as we can see in the background here, he is of course spanning right across the entire browser width, the parent container being this darker blue color. Okay? So he's spanning across the entire width of the browser window, and all of the child items that we have here, we've got 9 of them, don't forget, they all have a width of 100 pixels applied to them. If you have different code than I have here, just pause the video and take a moment to catch up to where I am here. Now, what I'm going to do on my parent container, on my parent ID selector, is I'm going to throw on this new flex property that we're getting introduced to here, called flex-wrap, just like this, okay? Now, I'm going to say flex-wrap, :space, and then I'm going to set his value to wrap, just like this, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my work, and I'll head back to my browser here for you, and I'll refresh, and nothing appears to change here. That is, unless I grab my browser window and start to scale. Check this out. Rather than that accordion effect or that flex effect that I was getting in the previous exercise, now we're getting this action or this behavior. Now the widths, again, of the child elements are being respected, and they're breaking onto new lines depending on the available space or width that they have for them. Okay? So if they can all fit on one line, they certainly will. If there isn't enough room for all of the child elements to fit onto one line, they're going to, of course, break onto a new row. Now, interestingly, we can achieve a similar result when the parent container has a fixed width applied to it. You can try this out if you like. Back inside my code here, for the parent ID selector, I'm going to go and establish a width on this guy. I'm going to say width 600 pixels, something like this. Okay, so again, a value that's much smaller than the total width of all 9 of my child elements here. Okay, so I'm going to save this guy, head back to my browser, and refresh Controller Command R, and there we go. So now the width of the parent container has collapsed down to 600 pixels, and we can see what's happening to the child elements. If there's not enough room, which of course there isn't here, they're going to break onto additional rows or additional lines. So if you're taking notes here, the FlexWrap property, using a value of wrap, right there, this guy here, what he will do is he will maintain the child element widths, forcing the child elements onto additional lines if needed. Okay? So, very cool stuff. Now, even more interestingly, we have more values that we can use in addition to just wrap. We have some additional options that we can use. We could use no wrap, for instance. So rather than wrap, I could say no wrap, okay? And maybe for good measure, I'll take the width off of the parent container while I'm showing you these as well, just to keep things simple here. I'm going to save this guy up, Make sure he's all saved up here. Back to the browser and refresh. And now when I scale the browser window, now we're back to what we saw in the previous exercise, the accordion, right? Now, the no wrap value, or really, let me start that sentence again. This accordion effect that we're getting, which we saw in the previous exercise, tells us that no wrap, or flex wrap no wrap, is the default setting. This is the default, and it takes us back, of course, to where we started. So with no wrap, the width of the child flex items now scale. Okay, so their widths are not being respected or maintained. Okay? All right, what else have we got here for you? Well, we've seen wrap, we've seen no wrap. Here's another one that we can use. We can use wrap-reverse. Now, this guy is very interesting. I'm going to save my code and head back to the browser and refresh, and it doesn't look like anything has changed here. Again, until I start scaling the browser window. Check this out. What the heck has happened here? So, I gotta be clear here for you. Here's what's happened. The order of the child elements has not changed. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4. What has changed is the order of the rows. So by using wrap reverse, we're changing the order of the rows, but only if the child elements can't fit inside the parent container. If the child elements can fit inside the parent container, no problem. We got what we saw before, right? But now with wrap reverse, the rows have changed order. So now the second row appears on top, the first row appears beneath, giving us even more flexibility when we're building our Flexbox layouts. So there you go. That's at least an introduction anyway to wrapping your child elements using the flex wrap property. I certainly encourage you to monkey around with this and play with it a little bit on your own if you wish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my parent back to just flex wrap and then wrap, something like this, and I'll save my work. So there you go. There's wrapping your child flex items.